I don't know why this lounge is... The lounge is deep as hell. It's a bit awkward to sit in. Trying to... Does this look weird? Fitting! Happy New Year! Happy 2025! We're a couple weeks in. It has been an interesting start to the year for me, full of chaos. Dental chaos. The worst kind of chaos. I had plans to talk to you before this, but my failed filling that then required a root canal had other plans for me. Had other plans for us. They're trying to keep us apart. I had no choice but to be a slave to the radiating, excruciating pain coming from the left side of my jaw all the way to the center of my face that would not go away and would not be hindered in any capacity by the codeine the dentist had me on to manage the pain until it was not inflamed enough that they could actually go in and do anything about it. So here we are. You have to admire the perseverance. If I want anything for 2025, it is to be entering my life with the energy of that failed filling where I simply cannot be stopped and or ignored. Not really. That's not really the vibe that I want to go into the year with, but you get what I'm saying. Happy holidays for anyone who celebrated anything over the holidays. If you don't celebrate the holiday time of Christmas, I hope you had some time off at the very least. I work in theatre, so I absolutely did not. But I had the beautiful experience of my big sister Sam came and spent Christmas with me in Melbourne because otherwise I would have been here by myself. I don't have any family in Melbourne. A Christmas that we lovingly named Sistmas, S-I-S-T, not CYST. It was amazing. It was great. I just spent Christmas with my sister and her kids, with my nephews and my niece. It was so lovely. It was really nice to be with family. My mum is gallivanting across the world, so it was the first time that I've really spent a Christmas without her being in, at the very least, the same hemisphere. But that was really exciting because she's off having an incredible adventure, which we love. This is the third year that I have sat down to film a video like this. In the last 2 years, I have done both like a wrap up for the previous year, and then I have done a video at the start of the year, kind of talking about like my intentions for the year, my goals. I don't know if I necessarily believe in resolutions, but I'm absolutely somebody who believes in or takes advantage of milestones, whether that's New Year's or birthdays. I'm somebody who likes to do at this point in time, last year, the year before that, however many years ago, what was I doing? Where was I at? How have things changed? How have I grown? I take advantage of that at every opportunity. Birthdays and New Year's specifically because they're just good markers in time to kind of do that from. You may have noticed that there was no wrap-up video for 2024, but I did still want to sit down and do this video for the start of 2025. It has been funny to be able to go back and watch the 2 previous years of these videos, and each time I feel like I'm looking at a complete stranger. I think that's positive. It's also really funny, especially in the last year, looking back at last year to now sitting down and thinking about my intentions for 2025. It is so incredibly interesting to see how much of my year I had planned out, how much of it I thought was set in stone, and to have been on the other side of that, like, girl, it was really cute that you thought that. I'm going to do a bit of an emotional yap about like my feelings about life and 2024 before I go into discussing 2025, the channel, career stuff, mostly for myself to document the mindset of where I'm at for next year me who looks at this, and also to give you an insight into where I've been, what I've been doing, why things have looked a little bit different. I think in pretty much every video I've done in the last like 6 months, I've been like, it's been so hard to film videos while doing this tour. I'm going to say it one more time and then I'm going to shut the fuck up about it. I toured last year in 2024. I toured the entire year. I lived for multiple months at a time in Sydney, Perth, Adelaide, Brisbane, Melbourne. I lived in 5 different cities last year, which is quite wild when you really think about it. That is not the norm. It is the norm for my industry. It is not the norm for most people's lives. It is also the most strenuous touring that I have ever done. And there were some lessons. There were some lessons about touring. There were some lessons about life. There were some lessons about the value of sleep. Maybe that's its own video. Maybe that's its own video about like touring and what I've learned after going on a big tour for the first time properly. Past me used to consider the Phantom shows being in 2 major cities a tour. And now again, I look back at her smoking a rolled cigarette with a glass of red wine in my old age like, ma'am, No. There was no wrap-up video for 2024, partially because I didn't have a lot of content to share. A lot of it you can see in the videos that I made, and I didn't have a lot of footage to actually like put that video together and to share it. I also felt no real drive. I'm ready for 2025. I'm ready for 2024 to be in its little grave. I'm ready for it to be done. I'm ready for that to be a memory in my life. 2024 was an incredibly difficult year for me, professionally, personally, mentally, and that's okay. Having to navigate that while touring was incredibly challenging, but it does mean that I got to the end of the year and I was not like I have been in the past, like reminiscing. Moving into 2025 on like a emotional, personal level, I feel a large pull to embrace that old saying of letting go of that's not even words. Letting go of what no longer serves you. Another version of that resonates, which might be a Bible verse, who can be sure, is that saying that is about having the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can change, and the wisdom to know the difference between the two. Knowing the difference there being a big one, I feel like a lot of 2024 I spent trying to control my circumstances in ways that weren't possible. Going into therapy properly hard again and realizing that's something that I've done for a lot of my life. Being on tour and being in a lifestyle and a career style where you are constantly uprooted and you don't have a consistent home base, a consistent group of people around you that aren't co-workers, so I don't really feel like that counts because there's layers to why that can't be just a safe group of people you're with. How do you manage those things while in that setting? That's what the lesson of 2024 has been for me, and I'm excited to execute that more effectively in 2025. We've already started that off really well. My body decided that it wanted to let go of the nerve in my upper left molar. Goals for 2025. Priorities for my existence as a human outside of my profession include prioritizing time off, prioritizing self-care in my daily life. Also, which this might be another conversation of like things to talk about in like a touring lifestyle, prioritizing the default not being that I rush to fit myself into the lives of everyone around me in my life who don't work in this industry. I feel like the whole time I was touring, I never relaxed because I was either working, feeling really guilty about not being able to be as present in the lives of my friends and family who weren't on tour as I would have liked to have been because I'm not there. Then in my break times, rushing back to the place where I could spend time with whoever I was spending time with, stretching myself out over like a few days of a visit to then see 10 or 15 people. There was no time left in there for me. There was no time left in there for my own rotting, my own relaxing, my own care that I needed to do for my own health, mental and physical. This year, I really want to be smarter about the time that I am giving and where it's going. I felt like at the end of the year, I looked back on a lot of the times that I was spending with my friends and my family who I'd been missing for a lot of the year. And the time wasn't what I wanted it to be because I was not a self that I could bring to them that would allow for the times I wanted to have, which would have been fixed by actually taking that time to function as a person, which is hard to make those boundaries and it is hard to make that work. But that's one of the goals for this year. Other things that I am going to continue to prioritize in 2025 is the book club. If you don't know, I have a book club. Not surprising if you know how much I read. The Girls Onto a Book Club has its own channel that you can go and look at. We do podcasts every month on the book that we have read in the month that we have read it. My friend B and I, we yap and we read some good books. And it has been the most beautiful form of escapism that I have needed. I didn't realize when I established that in my own life how much it would become a crutch for me in the touring time, having a sense of community and I think to connect with people over that wasn't my job. I knew would be invaluable, but I really learned how invaluable it actually was in the process of my 2024 when I was aggressively touring. In general, I want to be reading more and prioritizing reading more because it is my favorite form of escapism. My favorite thing to do my whole life. I need to make sure I prioritize it for my brain. Other life things is that Tina is coming to a close. In less than 50 days, I will finish Tina, the Tina Turner musical, the show that I've been on for the last 2 years. We're not just closing it in Melbourne and going somewhere else. The show will be done. And that is incredibly exciting. It is always a really bittersweet thing to finish up a show, especially one that you've been on for a hot second. I feel like the feeling is very much, this is sad because we've spent the last 2 years of our lives living in each other's pockets and sharing all these beautiful experiences and memories, but also a lot of people feel ready to move on sometimes at the end of a contract. And I feel ready to move on. I'm ready to move on to something new. I'm ready to be stimulated professionally by a new show. I'm ready to have new challenges and to have new people to learn from. And that is something that I will be doing. After Tina, I am moving on to do another show this year. I will tell you what that is when I can. I am so fucking excited for the next show that I'm going to be doing. It is a theatre show and I can't wait to tell you all about it. And I cannot wait to take you along, which kind of leads to thoughts and feelings about the channel for this year. Like I've said in the past, and like I've said, I'm going to yap about it one more time and then I'm going to let it die. My ability to make videos and to make content around the shows that I am involved in is heavily reliant on the permission of people in much higher positions than I am. And for Tina, I was not given said permissions, which is completely their right to do so. So it's not a good or a bad thing, it's just what happened. The next show I'm moving on to, I am entirely sure they're going to be okay with me making these videos. And if that is the case, I will be documenting everything. There will be videos about everything. There are so many things on Tina that I wanted to make videos about or that I thought would be really interesting and helpful and that I couldn't do because of that. And I'm so excited to have an opportunity to do that. I don't have any wood near me, but knock on wood for me. I'm so excited to have the opportunity to do that moving forward onto something else. Because this is incredibly important to me. This channel is important to me. These videos are important to me. You know, my head of sound, Anthony, and I, we talk a lot about the industry and we talk a lot about the entry into the industry and how it is both incredibly difficult for people to get into this industry, but also that they go into it being pretty ill-equipped for what the industry is or having knowledge about it and how it works. A lot of us find ourselves here and then we just kind of flounder until we learn to swim. And I would love to be part of making that easier. I would love to be part of the next generation of techs moving into the industry, feeling empowered, feeling encouraged, feeling like they know what they're getting into, being ready to work. Not only is making videos like this really great for me personally because I've got documentation of some incredible memories in my life and what I've been doing and where I've been at, and my family and friends can keep up with what I'm doing and where I'm at even if I'm on tour, which is a huge part of it for me. Not only is it promotional for the shows that I work on and the things that I do because it gives people an insight into the backstage and different parts of the show that you normally wouldn't know or hear about, which for people who are tech-minded or who really love theatre can make it incredibly encouraging for them to want to come and see shows, to start seeing shows that feeds back into the industry that I work in. That is also a huge part of it, but above all, it is this desire that I have to be the change that I want to see in the industry. You guys know that. It's also part of the ethos of the book club. If I can get to the end of my career in this industry, whenever that might be, probably when I've got one foot in the grave, because I cannot imagine myself just stopping being part of the arts and being part of this industry in some kind of way in my life. I want to look back at the career that I've had and I want to know that the way that I moved through it and the things that I did made it easier for other people to walk into the industry, especially young women. That's a huge thing for me, and that is part of the reason why I want to be making these videos, that I want there to be some kind of visibility of a career that you could potentially have, an insight into things that you don't get to learn about until you're in the industry and you never got a chance to decide whether it was right for you based on those things. I want to talk about the hard things, not because it's a deterrent, but because knowing the challenges means that you can prepare yourself to face them. That is why one of the things that I want to speak more about in the channel is finances and touring and the challenges that come along with those things, because it's so easy to share the highlight reel or for people in your life to see what you're doing and think that it is so exciting without acknowledging the incredibly difficult parts of it. And I don't think it serves anyone. I don't think it serves anyone to only show someone the positive parts of a lifestyle or a career. First of all, because like I said, it doesn't give them the ability to figure out if it's right for them. And if it is still right for them, it doesn't give them an opportunity to come up to challenges knowing they were going to happen or being as prepared as they possibly could be. Other things that I want to prioritize this year in relation to like the channel and the content that I'm sharing is that I want to start going live. I want to start streaming again. Streaming while I was on tour was fucking impossible. Not necessarily because of the technical side of it, like that was fine. I really enjoy the format, the experience of having live conversation with you and talking to you guys. But while I was on tour, it was incredibly difficult to be streaming like at night the way that I had been a year ago. Because for a lot of the tour, I was flat out for the first few weeks. We were in every city because of the moving and the setup and the pre-production, to spend my only night off in random cities where it felt worth it being there, to go and enjoy the places I was at. To sit inside and to sit down and get on a computer for 2 hours and turn on was not what I wanted to do and wasn't where I wanted to be. Something that I think would be more beneficial is if I put less pressure on myself to stream regularly. I think I want to do one occurrence of going live a month moving forward. I'm still trying to figure out what that looks like. For now, I think I'm just going to go live on Instagram, on my Mini Tech Instagram, probably during maintenance. I feel like that'd be cool. It is work relative. We can talk about work stuff while I'm doing something with my hands. The only annoying thing is that will mean that it is in the daytime, but if there is interest for it to be a nighttime chat, let me know and we can figure out another time when I can do that. I then do want to move it into either Twitch again, or maybe even YouTube. Probably Twitch because I enjoy the platform, but you can also go live on YouTube. I just need to figure out which one is going to be right. There's also ideas that I have for live streaming situations. I would love to do some live streams with my team, with my sound team, so that you can ask them questions. But I do feel like going live for maintenance at the very least is a good start, because it's something that I can be showing you what I'm doing while I'm doing it. You can ask questions. It can then go onto my Instagram later, so the footage and the content still exists if you can't tune in at that exact time. That is something that I want to prioritize. I definitely will do it once a month, but I'll keep you updated. So stay tuned for that if that's something that you're interested in. 2024, I did a bunch of chats with like uni or high school age students who were looking to get into the industry, and I definitely want to continue that in 2025. So if you're somebody who is involved with an educational facility in some capacity, or with a group of people, whether you're a community theatre group or something, with people who would be interested in talking to someone actively working in the industry, let me know. I will happily do that. I will happily make that work and fit that into my year. It's also something that I could get other people involved in. I have friends in all different kinds of departments. I have friends in mechanist departments, auto departments, stage management, wigs. I know I get a lot of people on the channel who maybe are interested in stage management, or who are interested in WAM, but there's not a lot of places where you can get information on people actively working in those roles. So if you would like, this year I can absolutely involve more of the people within the technical departments around me, as well as sound, if that's something you guys would be into. So let me know. Let me know what departments you would want to see, people you would want to hear from, positions you would want to know about, and I can try and figure something out. But all in all, that's kind of my feelings about the year. I'm not really setting myself any like specific goals like I did in the last couple of years, because I think more than anything for me personally at the moment, the goals are larger, like they're a little bit more zoomed out on things about how I live my life and how I take care of myself in a way that will impact smaller things in my life. I'm also trying to put less pressure on myself to tick one certain thing off a list. I spent 2024 trying to tick items off a list, and even when I got there, because the rest of my life was in shambles, it didn't feel good. So I'm putting less pressure on that and more pressure on just prioritizing my health, prioritizing my mental health, being so fucking excited to start this new show that I'm doing, being incredibly excited for the people around me. I've got a lot of really exciting things that the people in my life are doing this year. One of my best friends is getting married. One of my other best friends, they are having a baby. There's a whole life that I have outside of my job, and I want to make the most of both of them, of all of it, of the complete collective 3D being that is my life, professional and not. And I'm going to take you along for as much of it as I possibly can. Like I said, I really want to prioritize making some videos this year about things like finances and touring specific challenges. So if there's anything in that area that you want to see something specific on, or that you have questions about, please let me know. If there are any videos that you want this year, or videos that you want about starting a new show, please let me know, because the time for that will be coming quickly and I would like time to prepare to be able to do that well. But yeah, that's the vibe. That's the vibe. That's how I'm feeling. It's 2025. It is another year. Can't believe it's 2025. Insane. Let me know what your goals are, personal, professional, what you're moving into, what your hopes are for 2025. Videos will still be slow for a couple of months while I finish up Tina, and then from that point I'm hoping that there is a lot more content coming quickly, because I'll be able to make it. So I am so excited for that. I'm excited to be making more stuff, to be making stuff I'm excited about. I'm excited to be sharing it with you. I think you guys are going to be really excited about what I'm doing next. So Welcome to 2025. I'm gonna go to work now. I'm gonna go to work.